Let me ask you while I've got you all here, just on a different subject, just on the subject of healthcare for a second, and pharmacy benefit managers, and speaking about vertical integration. Why is it that insurance companies, why should health insurance companies be able to buy up the PBMs and also buy up the pharmacies so that the PBM, as I understand it, is supposed to negotiate with the insurer and with the pharmaceutical companies in order to get better prices. But if the insurance company owns the PBM and...
Is Amazon building an empire on the backs of workers they refuse to even call employees? Because it makes no sense to me at all. Let me ask you something. Is this still America when corporate giants like Amazon act like kings and our healthcare system feels more like a rigged casino than a lifeline? Well, sit tight, because Senator Josh Hawley just ripped the mask off two of the biggest scams in America, and I'm here to break it down for you like only a freedom-loving American can. This is the Prodigy Unfiltered.
Senator Hawley, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks to Senator Lee for calling this hearing. Thanks to the witnesses. Professor Newman, let me ask you just a question or two about Amazon. You're aware of Amazon's use of independent contractors, I bet. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's fair.
Amazon calls their delivery service partner program, or they should say they call their independent contractors their delivery service partner program, or DSPs. Does that sound, are you familiar with this, broadly speaking?
Yes.
So these, as I understand it, this delivery service program employs about 300,000 people. And according to Amazon, none of these 300,000 people, their delivery service partner, so-called, actually work for Amazon, which is convenient because in reality, Amazon exercises enormous control over these delivery service partners. They control their contracts. They control every aspect of their business. They tell these partners, these independent contractors, which vendors to use, which routes to follow, you name it. They even monitor the performance of individual drivers. And in some cases, Amazon, unilaterally fire the driver. So my question is, does that really sound like, and your understanding of the law, does that really sound like a classic independent contractor? If the parent company is exercising that degree of control over the vendors, over the individual drivers, does that sound like a truly independent relationship to you?
Well, not being a labor law expert, I'll give you my antitrust opinion. That
Good.
does not sound like a traditional relationship. No.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it to me either, but it does sound convenient for Amazon in a couple of respects. I mean, first, it means that if these are all independent contractors, they don't, legally speaking, they don't work for Amazon, then that means that they can't organize for work and working conditions and better wages. Is that right?
I think that's right.
Yeah. So it's a great setup for Amazon. It's less clear to me why it's such a great setup for their non-employees, but the folks who aren't technically Amazon employees, but yet just happen to work every single waking hour just about for the company. Does anybody else want to weigh in on this, Ms. Cooley? Do you have any views?
I'm similarly not a labor lawyer, but yes, I can see why that would be concerning.
Don't you think that it also gives Amazon an advantage over other companies like UPS? I mean, UPS employs their drivers. They have to be responsive to their drivers. They have to negotiate with them. By treating them as so-called independent contractors, Amazon doesn't have to do any of that for any of their drivers, right? I mean,
so certainly having vertical integration can have anti-competitive effects.
Let me ask you while I've got you all here, just on a different subject, just on the subject of healthcare for a second, and pharmacy benefit managers, and speaking about vertical integration. Why is it that insurance companies, why should health insurance companies be able to buy up the PBMs and also buy up the pharmacies so that the PBM, as I understand it, is supposed to negotiate with the insurer and with the pharmaceutical companies in order to get better prices? But if the insurance company owns the PBM and they own the pharmacies, and in some cases they own the doctor's practices, I mean, who's really benefiting? Is that a good thing for patients? Do any of you think? I mean, is that degree of vertical integration, is that a positive thing?
No, it's definitely not. I mean, I welcome the recent investigation litigation against PBMs. We need more such investigations about their misconduct. I don't think that the price negotiations are even genuine. You think about all of the people that are uninsured and the price that they're supposed to pay. and then the price that is quote unquote negotiated is basically I wouldn't say fraudulent, but basically not truly a representative of what the two prices are.
Yeah, thank you for that, Professor Alford. I mean, that states my concerns very aptly. And it just seems to me that from a competition standpoint, if we are allowing this degree of integration in the healthcare market, if the insurance companies can own the PBMs, can own the pharmacies, can own the doctors' practices, in some cases now can own the hospitals, I mean, the only person who seems to benefit from that arrangement is the insurer. It's the vertical integrator. The people who really seem to lose out are the patients, who no longer have any meaningful choice anywhere. There are no cost savings passed on to them because one entity owns all of it, owns the entire chain, and I think we're seeing more and more of that in American healthcare, and this is why, as recent reports have indicated, not only is healthcare more expensive than ever in this country, year on year, health insurance, I mean, it's just totally unaffordable, but access to care is actually declining. So the services provided are getting worse. And you can talk to doctors, you can talk to independent pharmacists, they hate it and they feel squeezed. And it seems to me the only people who are really doing great in this are the big-time insurance companies and the PBMs that they own.
I mean,
you want to add something, Professor Grant?
It is useful that there's been recent legislation that has basically removed the insurance immunity from antitrust laws. And so now, all of a sudden, we're seeing the repercussions of that, and we should see more investigations against insurance companies, including health insurance.
Yeah, that's terrific. And I'd like to go further. I've introduced bipartisan legislation with Senator Warren that would prevent this sort of vertical integration by insurers, PBMs, pharmacies. I think we've just got to say that this has got to stop. It is highly detrimental to patients, to cost, and to the quality of care. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So, let's start with Amazon. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for capitalism. I'm all for American success. But what Amazon is doing, that's not capitalism. That's corporate feudalism. Senator Hawley hit the nail on the head. Amazon has 300,000 delivery drivers who technically don't work for Amazon. They're called independent contractors. That sounds nice, right? But here's the catch. Amazon controls everything they do. From what routes they take, to what vendors they use, even down to firing them if they don't meet Amazon standards. That's not independence. That's corporate slavery with a smiley face logo. And why do they do it? Because if they call these hardworking Americans independent contractors, Amazon doesn't have to pay benefits. They don't have to allow unionizing. They don't have to negotiate anything. These drivers break their backs day in, day out, and get none of the protection. Meanwhile, Amazon execs sit in their glass towers laughing all the way to the bank. Now, let's talk about why this should matter to every single patriot watching this. When a megacorp can dominate labor, squash competition, and manipulate the system, they are undermining the free market. This isn't about left or right, this is about right and wrong. UPS has to follow the rules. So, do thousands of American small businesses. But Amazon? They get a pass because they've got lawyers, lobbyists, and left-wing friends in high places. It's not just unfair, it's un-American. Now, let's pivot to something even more personal, your healthcare. Senator Hawley exposed something so outrageous, so corrupt, it should shake every American awake. He talked about how big insurance companies are buying up everything. The PBMs, the pharmacies, even the doctors' offices and hospitals. So now the same company controls what meds you take, where you get them, and what care you receive. They call it vertical integration. I call it tyranny with a stethoscope. You think these companies care about you? Nope. They care about squeezing every last dime out of the system. That's why your premiums are through the roof, your coverage sucks, and doctors are burning out or selling out. Here's the good news. Hawley isn't just talking. He's doing something. He's working with Senator Elizabeth Warren, yeah, you heard that right, to ban this corrupt consolidation. Now, I may not agree with Warren on much, but even a broken clock is right twice a day. This bill says enough is enough. We don't want Megacorp owning the whole chain, from the prescription pad to the pharmacy counter. And as conservatives, as patriots, we must support this. Because what's at stake here is not just money, it's freedom, fairness, and the American dream. So, here's my message to every red-blooded American out there. It's time to take our country back from these corporate overlords. Amazon doesn't get to redefine what a worker is. Insurance companies don't get to play God with our healthcare. And our leaders? They better remember who they serve, we the people. This is the Prodigy Unfiltered. If you're fired up like I am, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this with every freedom-loving friend you know. Drop a comment below. Should Amazon be held accountable? Should insurance giants be broken up? Let your voice be heard, because silence is surrender. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and stay free. United States, God bless America. United States.